How about those Devils? How about those Devils?
How about those Devils? Welcome back, Devils fans. It is your host, Ace, here on Running with the Devils, where we are talking New Jersey Devils hockey all year long. Please hit that subscribe button, smash the like, share with a friend. Thank you very much. And the New Jersey Devils headed into Pittsburgh, desperately needing 2 points, coming off of a painful loss to the Buffalo Sabres. Needing 2 points, the playoff race getting tighter, the end of the season getting near, and leave with 2 points. Your New Jersey Devils did. So much to get to, so much to talk about, but I first must ask, I must know.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
Are you not entertained? What an amazing game. What a finish. 7 rounds of a shootout. So much to get to. We're going to get to all of it in a minute. But first, win or lose, we booze. Cheers to my Devils fans. I'm going to do a little Dirty Devil Vodka, the official vodka of the great Martin Brodeur. Dirty Devil Vodka, smooth as hell. This one goes out to all my Devils fans and the New Jersey Devils just to do a little. Wow. What a win. What a beautiful win. Earlier in the day, we find out that Nico Daws will, in fact, be in the net for the Devils, and Erik Haula will be returning. Looking forward to Erik Haula's return for a while. The Devils have obviously struggled in the faceoff department with Nico Hischier being injured, and Erik Haula should provide some much-needed help in that department. So we get Haula back in the lineup, Daws in net. We get to the game. The game starts. Very low event first period. Not a lot of chances both ways, and at 8:45, calamity strikes this New Jersey Devils club yet again. Jonas Siegenthaler goes down with a non-contact injury. His leg bent weird. He fell weird along the boards. He was looking to evade a hit, and he just went down right before the defender got there, and his leg bent weird and leaves the game. And we come to find out after the game that he will, in fact, miss some time. So, again, one guy back for the Devils, Haula, and another one right out. The injury bug continues for this Devils club. Siegenthaler is going to be out for who knows how long. We'll probably get an update tomorrow, and we're going to get the usual, lower body injury week to week or whatever it is. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but these types of injuries could be lengthy at times, and it's going to be next man up. We'll get to all that in a minute. But as a result of Siegenthaler going down so early, the defenseman had to step up and log a lot of minutes. I'll touch on that in a minute. But late in the first period, after not too much going on for the Devils for the whole period, Devils come in off the rush. They throw the puck towards net. It's bouncing around in the crease, and Hughes jamming at it, gets a little piece of it, sending it over the goal line and in. Hughes gets his 22nd of the season at 19:43 from Jesper Bratt and Andre Palat, giving the Devils the 1-0 lead with only 17 seconds left in the period, and that is how the period would end. And that was a relief. I love getting late goals, often kind of a dagger or a big kind of punch in the gut to the opposition, especially in their own building. And what a clutch goal there for Jack, giving the Devils the 1-0 lead in the closing seconds of the first period, and that is how the first would end. We head into the second period up 1-0. Jack wins a big offensive zone draw against Sidney Crosby. This cannot be stressed enough. This play from start to finish was phenomenal. Offensive zone draw, Jack Hughes versus Sidney Crosby in the left circle. Jack wins the faceoff cleanly. The puck goes to Bratt. Jack quickly cuts to the right circle and loads up. Bratt hits him with a beautiful pass right in the wheelhouse, and Jack just lets it fly. An unbelievably beautiful one-timer right into the back of the net. Jack gets his 23rd at 9:14 from Jesper Bratt, giving the Devils a 2-0 lead. And at that point, I was like, oh, baby. While the Devils were not playing great for a large portion of the game, and it wasn't a pretty outing whatsoever, being up 2-0 at that juncture halfway through the game, I was feeling very good. I said, okay, hopefully Daws could lock it down. We get another 1 or 2, and we leave this thing with 2 points in the bank. But, wow, huge goal from Jack, 2-0 at 9:14. And in true Devils fashion, they decided they wanted to make it a little interesting. Just to give the fans in Pittsburgh some entertainment, Penguins come in off the rush. Sidney Crosby gets off a nice backhand shot in tight. Daws makes the save, and the puck's kind of sitting there. He tries to poke it out, but whiffs on it, and Rakell grabs it and just immediately does a wraparound and scores. I think Daws should have covered it there, and obviously looking back on it, I'm sure he wishes he covered it too. But he kind of got handcuffed in the moment, and then he went to jam at it, missed. Rakell makes him pay. Rakell gets his 24th at 14:56 from Crosby and Carlson, cutting the Devils' lead to 2-1. And at that point, I felt the wind leave my sails a little bit, just a little bit. I just died a little bit inside. And that is how the second period would end. Devils going into the third period with the 2-0 lead. And the MSG crew puts the kiss of death graphic on the screen. I believe it was like the Devils are 24-0-2 or something like that, heading into the third period with a lead. And the chat for the post-game live was very active. Everybody was like, oh, my God, we're jinxed. Why would they show that stat? Of course we're going to struggle now. And sure enough, that did happen. The third period starts. Penguins working the cycle. Joseph is behind the goal, and he starts driving towards the net. All the Devils are kind of watching him, thinking he's going to take it right to the front of the net and try a power move to score a goal. But instead, at the last second, he sees Hayes wide open in front. He hits Hayes with the pass, and Hayes buries it for his 9th of the season at 7:53, tying the game up at 2. And at that point, I was just completely dejected. After everyone talked about them showing the stat, I was like, all right, hopefully that's just nonsense. And what was once a 2-0 Devils lead is now midway through the third period, tied at 2, and I was just, I'm not going to lie, I was disgusted. I was like, oh no, if we lose this game, it really would have been one of the worst losses of the season. Probably the worst if it happened, but to be up 2-0 into the third and then now have a tie game, very disheartening. Devils don't get a ton of great chances throughout the third period, and we are headed to overtime. And the overtime was brutal. Devils kind of had to survive. Obviously, you all know without Nico Daws, the Devils' best face-off performer by far, who takes all of our big situation face-offs, not in the lineup. And so we kind of have to just deal with what we got at the moment. And Nico has been very good on the face-offs all year, especially in the overtime. To start the overtime, I feel like Nico's won almost all of them. And possession is massive in the overtime. As you see, teams get the puck and often will hang on to it for 2 or 3 minutes before the other team even gets it back. Overtime starts. We lose the opening draw. Pittsburgh has possession. Comes down. I think the Devils eventually get it back, but very short-lived. And then Pittsburgh gets it back again. And Pittsburgh had the puck on their stick for most of that overtime. Devils were just pretty much in survival. And as Sal alluded to on the MSG broadcast, the Penguins were very smart. If they did not have a clean lane or a good opportunity in the overtime, instead of just ripping a shot wide that would rim around or come off the end boards and send the Devils on a rush the other way, they would just very quickly retreat. They would just back out, pass it back, whatever, or skate it back and just do a little lap and restart. I do think it is, it's obviously a smart tactic to use. It is very frustrating, obviously, when your team is the one without the puck and, the other teams are playing this kind of possession control game. But it is an effective tactic, and Sal alluded to it. He said, the Penguins are well aware that getting into a track meet with the New Jersey Devils is a recipe for disaster. And so instead of just taking bad shots and giving the Devils a chance the other way, they just said, we'll just pass on this opportunity, leave the zone, and re-enter. And it was very effective. Devils didn't have the puck very much in that overtime until very late with about 7 seconds or so left. Jack Hughes, with 2 goals in the game, looking for a hat trick, gets sprung for a breakaway. He is in all alone with the game and the hat trick on his stick, and he cannot score on the breakaway. I was up off my couch. I was going crazy. I'm like, come on, Jack. Come on. I'm going ballistic. I'm like, this is going to be one of the best regular season goals in years if Jack buries this, in the overtime for the hat trick with like a second left. It would have been about if he scored. Would have been theater, absolute hockey theater, and it, in my opinion, probably would have been at least one of the top few regular season goals for the Devils in the past long time. Maybe the best. Wasn't meant to be. Jack gets robbed. And what a deflating moment that was. As soon as it got saved, I was like, oh boy, we're going to the shootout again. And wow, what an exciting overtime session, at least the end of it for the Devils. Had to collect my thoughts, regroup, calm back down, because I knew it was going to be another heart attack-inducing situation in the shootout. And, of course, the Devils did nearly give me a heart attack. The Penguins send out Rakell, and he scores, giving the Penguins the early 1-0 lead in the shootout. And the Devils' first shooter, Paul Cotter. What a finisher Paul Cotter is. He comes in, does a little move, and just gets one up on the backhand. Beautiful finish. Cotter cashes in his shootout attempt. And we are all tied up at 1 after the first round. And Ken Danico was going ballistic on the broadcast. Love me some Dano. And he was going, that's a filthy, filthy finish right there. Filthy, filthy move. And it really was. Can't say enough about Cotter. He's an obvious selection for the shootout. He's just phenomenal in it. We go to the second round of the shootout. First up for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Sidney Crosby. Sid comes in and Daws robs him. That's certainly one he's going to tell his grandkids about. What a great moment for him to be up against one of the greatest players in NHL history and stone him on a shootout. Had to feel really good for Daws. And then the Devils answer for their second shooter with Jack Hughes. And Jack comes in and just bobbles the puck and doesn't even get a shot off. Super frustrating. It is what it is. These types of things happen, but I certainly would have went with some different shooters, I think, for the first three, and definitely thereafter. I'll get to that all in a little bit, but Jack misses on his chance, and we are still tied up at 1 after 2 shooters. Penguins send out their third shooter, Rust, and Nico Daws comes up with another save, and Jesper Bratt goes out there with the game on his stick. Bratter could end it with a shootout goal. Rips a nice one. Looks like he's going 5-hole. Off the skate. So close to getting it. The shootout will continue. We are still tied at 1 after 3 shooters. We go to the fourth shooter, and Beauvillier comes in for the Penguins, and he scores, giving the Penguins the 2-1 lead in the shootout. And at that point, I was yelling, Timo! Timo! I'm like, it's got to be Timo! And I hear on the loudspeaker in the arena, Dougie Hamilton. And I'm like, oh. I would have Dougie in my first 5 probably, but I don't know if I would have had him fourth, and definitely not before Timo. But now Dougie Hamilton comes up as the Devils' fourth shooter, needing to score to continue the shootout. To extend the shootout and keep the Devils in the game, he must score. Dougie comes in, does a couple moves, and gets it through the legs. What a beautiful shot by Dougie Hamilton, extending the shootout into now round 5. Fifth shooter for the Pens, Kevin Hayes comes in. Daws stones him. And now, once again, I'm on the top of I'm standing up. I'm yelling, Timo! Timo for the win! And then I hear Tomas Tatar. And I'm like, what? Like, nothing against Tuna. We're looking to win the game here. I'm like, it's got to be Timo. I thought he was going to be the previous shooter. Tatar comes out. Also stoned. We go to the unprecedented 6th round of the shootout. At this point, I'm like, oh, my God. I'm like, this is either going to be the most thrilling victory or the most crushing defeat. I mean, to just continuously go on. And I'm like, win this one for Daws. Daws played a pretty solid game, and now he's coming up big in the shootout. And I'm like, this would be a shame if this team finds a way to lose this game for this kid in his first appearance back in the NHL on the season. The 6th shooter comes up for the Pens. It's Letang. He comes in. Daws stops him too. And once again, I'm like, Timo! It's Timo time! And I hear Luke Hughes, and I'm like, oh, God. I'm like, please, Luke, just end this. Please, Luke, just end this thing. Give us the win and let this be over with. My heart can't take anymore. Luke comes in. He also gets stopped, and I'm like, oh, couldn't believe it. We go to the 7th round, and now I'm like, now I'm looking for the booze. I'm like, this is going to be a long night. Glass for the Penguins comes in. Daws stops him too. And now, once again, I'm like, Timo! Timo! And I hear Timo Meier, and I'm like, thank God. And now at this point, Timo's coming out with the chance to win the game. And given all the flack that many of the uneducated fans have been kind of saying about Timo, and I get it, he makes a lot of money, and, ideally, I'd like to see him score a little more points than he has. But this guy brings it every night. He is a bull, one of our few very physical men up front. Just a menace to the opposition, hits people, makes plays. I love me some Timo Meier. Hopefully we see him on the right side and on Power Play 1 soon. You all know about that topic for another day. But Timo on the right on Power Play 1, just an idea. And so I really wanted this for Timo so badly just because of all the nonsense. And, he's a great player. I can't imagine what the team would look like without him up front. And for all the people that just don't understand what he brings beyond the points, you give no credit to intangibles, and I think it's laughable. Timo is a force. He is a big part of this club, and hopefully is a big part of a team that wins a Stanley Cup here in New Jersey. But Timo gets his chance to shine. Timo Meier comes in, does a couple moves, and rips it in.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
Timo Meier. It's always Timo time on this channel, kids. Timo Meier in the 7th round of the shootout sends the Devils home with 2 much-needed points. And wow, what a thrilling way to end a game. I obviously think the shootout is a little bit of a nonsensical way to end a game. They're entertaining, but I don't think it should be what decides hockey games. But either way, 7th round, Timo comes up huge. And for those keeping score at home, and especially the Timo detractors, that is now the 2nd game in the past week that Timo Meier has won for your New Jersey Devils. Obviously, last night's game in Pittsburgh with the 7th round shootout winner. And he essentially won that game in Montreal when he made that nice hustle play to get to that loose puck and spring Jack on the breakaway. That was fully made by Timo Meier. Credit to Jack on the finish, but Timo made that play happen. And so, that's 2 games, 2 wins the Devils may not have had without Timo Meier. And I understand people are like, oh, he gets paid $9 million. And I get all that. He is a highly paid player, but he does bring a lot more than just goals and assists. And he's won us 2 games in the past week. I mean, I am hoping as the season goes on, he picks up the scoring a little bit. He's been snake-bitten for a while now. He's hit a ton of posts and had a ton of great chances, and it just seems like he can't buy one at the moment. But he's in the mix. He's generating. He's getting chances. And for all the people talking smack on Timo, I'm going to defend him till the end. I'm a Timo Meier guy. An absolute bull up front. But what a game. What a win. Wow, not a great game for the Devils, but this is what good teams do. You have to find a way to win even when you're playing not so great, and this was obviously a far from great effort for the Devils, but they found a way to win. They blew the 2-goal lead, and they didn't fold up. They didn't just cave and blow the game. They hung in there, hung tough, survived a somewhat rough overtime session, and in the 7th round of a shootout, Timo Meier is your hero. Devils go home with 2 points. Hopefully building on this, and they come out with a much better performance Thursday night at home against the Golden Knights. But what a game, what a win. I am jacked. I wish they played a little bit better, but any way you could get them, a win is a win. 2 points, 2 precious points in the bank that we so desperately needed. We get to the game stats. Devils with 21 shots on goal, Penguins with 27. Ideally, you want to see more than 21 shots. Not nearly enough. Again, low event game, a lot of just stagnation throughout parts. 21 shots, got to get that shot total up. And here it is again, the faceoff percentage. Missing Nico Daws was an absolute travesty in this one again, especially in that faceoff circle. Devils with 37% and the Pens with 63%. It is going to be hard to consistently win hockey games when you are getting owned in the faceoff circle. Not good. Not good at all. Next issue, power play. Devils 0 for 3 on the power play, and that stings. The power play all season has seemed to run hot and cold. There's nights they went 2 for 3, 3 for 4. And then there's nights where they go 0 for 3, 0 for 4. And tonight was another 0 for 3 on the power play, including a 4-minute double minor where they could have really put Pittsburgh on their heels with a 2-0 lead had they scored on it. But they couldn't. I think they only generated 1 shot in the 4 minutes. I mean, and it was kind of ugly as well. Not only did they not score or generate chances, it was just downright ugly. And maybe it's time to look at some new power play personnel combinations. We'll see how that all unfolds. But again, it has been hot and cold, and we very well could go 2 for 3 or 3 for 4, 3 for 5, something like that in the next game. But it is a little frustrating to see a power play that was converting at such a high rate earlier in the season has slowly tapered off over time. And again, it's just the tale of 2 power plays. Very hot or very cold. Tonight was very cold, 0 for 3, and you can't be squandering power play chances, especially in the playoffs. Power plays are precious, and you are going to need special teams to convert if you want to be a contending team. That's just what it is. But the PK shows up again, killing off all 3 of the Penguins' power plays. They finish 0 for 3 on the power play on the night. Devils with 21 hits. Satisfactory. I'd like to see more than that, but 21 hits, not too bad. Penguins with 19 hits. Devils with 10 block shots, and the Penguins with 21 block shots. Devils with 16 giveaways. The Penguins with 19 giveaways. Devils with 5 takeaways, and the Penguins with 7 takeaways. What a win. What a game. And hopefully the boys just find a way to gut out another victory Thursday at home against the Knights. The Knights have been struggling crazy as of late as well, and I'm sure they're going to start playing very desperate and hungry for points, as the Devils should. Another night where I thought the intensity really wasn't there. Another very slow start. That first period was very lethargic. I felt like we were just kind of sleepwalking through a lot of it. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's frustrating to watch as a fan. Obviously, I love this team more than anything. I am hoping that we could get off to crisper, more intense, faster starts. Getting up in a game and playing with a lead is so much better of a position to be in than constantly chasing. Didn't really go that way last night against the Penguins. Obviously, we had a 2-0 lead and found a way to squander it in the third. But more times than not, if the Devils could jump on a team, get those early leads, the other team kind of has to maybe come out of their comfort zone and open up a little bit more and give the Devils some great chances to catch them and go the other way. Really got to work on those starts. But anyway, we get 2 points. I am thrilled. And back to the Siegenthaler injury. So, he's going to miss some time. Someone's going to get called up. A lot of people obviously calling for Shimo Nemec. And I could see that happening. That's definitely a possibility. However, being that Jonas Siegenthaler is a left D and Shimo Nemec is a right D, I personally thought that it would be wiser for a natural left D to replace Siegenthaler as a direct plug-in. I don't know who that would be because I do believe Hatka is still injured, and he would be my clear choice if he wasn't injured. Maybe it will be Nemec who gets called up, and if that is the case, someone else in the D-core will have to play on their offside and get shifted to the left so that Nemec could slot in on the right. I do not believe the Devils will bring Nemec up and have him play NHL games for the first time in quite a while. He's been in the AHL for months and months. I think it would be a recipe for disaster and setting him up for failure to bring him back to the NHL and then force him to play on his offside. It doesn't make sense. So if Nemec is in fact the one that is called up, someone else in the lineup right now on defense is going to be shifted to the left side, and they'll put Nemec on his natural right side. Interesting thing to keep an eye on, but who knows? And I did say that maybe his interview where he talked to the media and kind of voiced his displeasure with not being in the NHL, that could potentially have a bearing on this. I don't know if the team cares too much and, I'm not going to say necessarily cater to him with bringing him back up. Obviously, he would be one of the first couple guys brought up in the case of injury, but maybe they want him to continue to develop in the AHL. We don't really know, but it will be interesting tomorrow to see who is going to get called up because they're going to have to call somebody up, and maybe it's Tobias Villain. Keep an eye on that. Very interesting to see how that plays out, but I will say we have to tip our cap to the D-core of this New Jersey Devils club who played a huge portion of the game, essentially 51-plus minutes with 5 defensemen. And as a result, these boys saw big minutes last night. Brendan Dillon played 26 minutes. Dougie Hamilton played 22:46. Johnny Kovacevic played 19:37. Brett Pesce played 20 minutes, 5 seconds. Luke Hughes, 29 minutes and 45 seconds for that young man. 15 seconds shy of 50% of the game. And you got to give it to him. I do think Luke Hughes is a great one in the making. A lot of people have given him crap like every other player on our team because they're just very impatient and unrealistic. But Luke Hughes has shown tremendous growth this season in his defensive game. I think a lot of that has to do with the tutelage of Coach Sheldon Keefe, as well as being paired with Brett Pesce for the majority of the season up until the last week or so. I think Pesce really did wonders for Luke's game and really helped kind of cover up maybe some of the mistakes so they weren't as painful as they were last season. But Luke is coming along. You see him hustle back, make great plays with the stick, tying guys up, and plays where you think someone's going to generate a good chance. He just kind of closes the gap real quick and shuts it down. I expect Luke to be a beast for this club for years to come. And not too many young kids his age, 21 years old, are going to be able to log 29 minutes and 45 seconds on D. I mean, wow. What a workhorse he was tonight. And Siegenthaler, obviously being injured, he only played 3 minutes and 12 seconds. But wow. Wow, oh wow. A spectacular win, regardless of what it looked like. 2 massive points on the road, coming home Thursday against the Golden Knights. I think we're going to see Jake Allen in that one. But if I'm honest, I would go back to Daws.
He breaks laws and maybe jaws. Kicking him in net, Nico Daws.
Between the third period of Buffalo, where he faced 7 shots, gave up nothing, he looked pretty confident and solid in the net during the game against the Penguins last night. And then he obviously really showed up huge for the New Jersey Devils in that shootout. And I think he should be rewarded for his efforts because he played a massive role in the win. I mean, solid regular game and overtime, but really that shootout without Daws in there, That easily could have been a loss. 7 shootout rounds, and he only gave up 2. I mean, you got to tip the cap to him. What a stretch for Nico Daws. And if it was up to me, I really would play him Thursday, but I think it is going to be Allen. But he looked real good. And he's going to be one of the guys looking to push for a roster spot on the Devils next season. He's going to try to be that 1B guy behind Jacob Markstrom next season. It's going to be interesting. You got other guys in the mix as well. Poulter, Yegorov potentially. There's a couple other guys as well. Should be an interesting battle in training camp to see who emerges as the tandem goalie to play with Markey. But we should be in good hands, I believe. We have a lot of goaltending prospects. One of them must hit. And shout out to Rakell Yegorov, looking like a beast in his first few games at Boston University. Just got there a couple weeks ago. He's playing under head coach Jay Pandolfo, former New Jersey Devil, 2-time Cup champ. What a legend Pando is. And Yegorov is in net there for BU, and he's looking pretty damn good. He's got another televised game coming up in a few days in the Bean Pot against their rivals BC, so check that out. I'll probably have a video or two coming out about that as well. But all in all, the New Jersey Devils got 2 points they desperately needed. I am ecstatic. I am hoping for a better performance Thursday, and hopefully the boys, some of that home cooking. Sometimes just what we needed was to return to home, and they responded with big performances like they did against Philly. Hopefully there's another one. Hopefully we see another one of those. But this is the home stretch, guys. Last night was game 55 on the season. My mind is blown. It just goes like that. Just seemed like yesterday. It was August, and I was talking to all of you saying, oh, we're only a few weeks away from training camp. And here we are, 55 games down, 27 games left. This Devils club must start gelling, and they must start gelling soon. 27 games left. Every game's going to be a war. No easy ones. It's the pre-playoff playoff. This is the playoffs to get into the playoffs, and I hope they find a way to stand tall, play towards the top of their game like we saw in December, and it could be a fun postseason ride with these guys. I really believe in this team still. I know a lot of you are super down on them, a lot of you wanting to see immediate trades. I'm hoping we see some reinforcements brought in from Tom Fitzgerald. I'm also here to tell you I don't expect it to be a flashy, top 6 type player, but I do think he could bring in some bottom 6 help that could really help this team and really mold them to become a contender. I really believe in the team. They looked too damn good to just fall off the map. And I know it's been a rough stretch. Basically, this whole calendar year has been painful. But hopefully Markey comes back as soon as possible. The same with Nico. We get a couple guys from the outside, and all of a sudden it all just starts to, late February, I guess. Late February into early March, start really gelling and get going. I would love to see it. I just need to see one more cup before I die, guys. Just one more cup before I croak. No better time than now. But let me know what you guys thought about this game. Obviously, let me know what you thought about anything I said in this video in the comments. Anything, everything, New Jersey Devils hockey, just throw it out there in the comments. I enjoy talking to all of you. I'll be back soon. Always got tons of stuff in the works. I'll have a ton of stuff over the Four Nations break as well, and lots of exciting stuff coming up. But you'll see some of that soon. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that jazz. Until next time, friends, let's go